10 R&B legends, 10 lives cut short by violence, and in almost every case, the world shrugged its shoulders and kept dancing to their music.
You know we've got to fight.
You've heard their songs at cookouts. You've slow danced to their melodies at weddings. But what happened to the people behind those songs? Some were shot by strangers, some by the people closest to them, and a few under circumstances that still don't make sense 50 years later. This is the list nobody talks about. And honestly, some of these are going to stay with you for a while. Number 10. James Shep Shepherd.
You're the girl of my dreams.
1,000 Miles Away. Even if you don't know the title, you know it. That doo-wop ballad from 1957 that hit number 5 on the R&B charts. The one where a man is singing to a woman so far gone, the distance feels physical. That was James Shep Shepherd, lead singer of the Heartbeats. Later, Shep and the Limelights. And in 1961, he gave us Daddy's Home, number 2 on the pop charts. A song about reunion, coming back to the one you love. Here's what most people don't know. Shep sued Roulette Records over unpaid royalties. But Roulette? Run by Morris Levy, a man with documented ties to the Genovese crime family.
Your daddy's home.
On January 24, 1970, Shep was found dead in his car on the Long Island Expressway. Beaten, robbed, shot. He was 34 years old. The case? Never solved. Not a single arrest. Not a single lead made public. A man fought for the money his music earned him, and somebody made sure he stopped fighting.
I made a promise.
Number 9. Daryl Banks. If you were anywhere near a radio in 1966, you heard Open the Door to Your Heart. Number 2 on the R&B charts. A Detroit soul classic that sounded like it was written in the middle of an argument, because it basically was.
Don't look the same as they did.
Daryl Banks had that kind of voice. Raw, urgent, like he was running out of time to say what he needed to say. And here's the thing about that song. Some people swore it sounded like Otis Redding. Others said Otis sounded like him. That's the kind of voice we're talking about. But Daryl Banks didn't die on stage or in a studio.
I'm the one who let you.
On February 24, 1970 in Detroit, he got into a confrontation with an off-duty police officer named Aaron Bullock. The dispute? A woman, Marjorie Bozeman. Banks pulled a .22 pistol. Bullock drew his service weapon, one shot through the neck. Daryl Banks died at New Grace Hospital. He was 32, and the world didn't pause, not even for a second.
If you think you're fooling me,
The man behind one of the greatest Detroit soul records ever made was just gone.
you're fooling yourself. The truth in your hands. What can I do or say?
Real talk. Only 9% of you watching are subscribed. That hurts. We're spending hours digging through archives, fact-checking every detail, bringing these stories back to life. And if you're watching this far, you clearly care. So hit subscribe. It's free. Takes 2 seconds. Now, to my subscribers. Barely any of you have joined the membership. And honestly, that stings even more. You know the work we put in. You keep coming back. If these videos have ever made you feel something, if this music means something to you, join the membership. It's $1 coffee a month, and it's the only way we keep this going. Let's build this together. All right, back to it.
Your best friend will.
All we're asking you, just be true.
Number 8. Cornell Gunter. You might not know Cornell Gunter's name, but you absolutely know his group, the Coasters. Yakety Yak, Charlie Brown, Searchin', Poison Ivy. Some of the most iconic R&B and rock and roll records of the late 50s. Cornell Gunter was part of that magic. And after the original lineup dissolved, he kept performing as Cornell Gunter and the Coasters, bringing that music to new audiences through the 70s and 80s on the oldies circuit. But on February 26, 1990, in Las Vegas, someone pulled up to Cornell Gunter's car at an intersection and shot him through the windshield. Witnesses reported seeing an argument between Gunter and a man from another vehicle just moments before. And then, nothing. No arrest, no trial, no closure. Here's what stays with me about this one. Auntie Cornell Gunter spent decades keeping that music alive, traveling city to city, stage to stage, making sure people remembered. And when he was killed, the very world he dedicated his life to entertaining barely noticed. If you were in Vegas in 1990, you might have seen a small headline. Maybe, and that was it. Number 7, Lee Morgan. Stay with me on this one, because this story reads like a novel nobody would believe if it were fiction. Lee Morgan was one of the most brilliant trumpet players who ever lived. A jazz prodigy out of Philadelphia who joined Art Blakey's Jazz Messengers as a teenager. But here's what connects him to you. His 1964 track, The Sidewinder, crossed over hard. It hit the pop charts, got played on R&B radio, and became so big that Chrysler used it in their World Series commercials without even asking him. That groove was everywhere. But by the late 60s, heroin had nearly destroyed him. He was pawning his trumpet, pawning his winter coat, sleeping wherever he could. And then a woman named Helen Moore took him in, cleaned him up, got his horn out of hock, managed his career, put him back on stage. By 1972, Lee Morgan was playing the best music of his life. And here's where it breaks. Helen found out Lee was seeing a younger woman. On February 19, 1972, during a blizzard in New York City, she showed up at Slug's Saloon in the East Village where Lee was performing. Between sets, they argued. He threw her out into the snow. She came back in with a gun, one shot near the heart. And you know what killed Lee Morgan as much as that bullet? The snow. The ambulance couldn't get through the storm. He bled to death on the floor of that club. He was 33 years old. Helen served barely any time, and the woman who saved his life became the one who ended it. If you've ever loved somebody so hard it scared you, you understand how close love and destruction can sit next to each other. Number 6, Don Myrick. You've heard Don Myrick play 1,000 times without knowing his name, and that part still gets me. He was the lead saxophonist of the Phoenix Horns, the horn section of Earth, Wind, and Fire. That sound on September, Boogie Wonderland, Let's Groove. That was Don Myrick's horn, cutting through the funk and making everything feel like it was lifting off the ground. In 1995. And here's the detail that haunts me most. Don Myrick was buried in an unmarked grave at Inglewood Park Cemetery. No headstone, no marker, nothing to tell you who's lying there. The man whose music will outlive all of us. And you can't even find his grave. Number 5, King Curtis.
Thank you. Today's special.
It's all right. If there is one person on this list whose loss changed the actual sound of music, it might be this man, King Curtis, born Curtis Ousley in Fort Worth, Texas.
I give him about a half a teacup.
By the late 50s, he was the most in-demand session saxophonist in New York City. That sax on Yakety Yak by the Coasters in 1958, King Curtis, the horn on Aretha Franklin's Respect, King Curtis. He played on records with Buddy Holly, the Shirelles, Sam Cooke, John Lennon. His own instrumental, Soul Twist, hit number 1 on the R&B charts in 1962. Memphis Soul Stew in 1967 became a soul standard. And by the late 60s, he was Aretha's band leader, leading the Kingpins, the tightest R&B band on the planet. And here's what happened. August 13, 1971, a hot summer night in Manhattan. King Curtis was carrying an air conditioner into his brownstone at 50 West 86th Street. A junkie named Juan Montañez was sitting on the steps. They argued. Montañez pulled a knife and stabbed him.
A fatback drum.
King Curtis died on a New York sidewalk at 37 years old. Over nothing. Want to know how much the music world loved this man? Atlantic Records shut down for his funeral. Jesse Jackson officiated. Aretha Franklin sang. Stevie Wonder played a tribute. Montañez got 7 years for manslaughter. Out by 1977. Number 4. Selena Quintanilla. I know what some of you are thinking. Selena was Tejano. And you're right. She was the queen of Tejano music. But if you think her music stopped at one genre, you weren't paying attention. By 1995, she was recording her first English-language album. She was crossing over. Amor Prohibido, Bidi Bidi Bom Bom, No Me Queda Más. Those songs didn't stay in one lane. They showed up at house parties, quinceañeras, and block parties all across the country. She won a Grammy in 1994, and she was 23 years old, with the entire English-speaking market about to hear what the Latin world already knew. But Yolanda Saldivar had other plans. Saldivar ran Selena's fan club and managed her boutiques, and she'd been stealing. When Selena confronted her at the Days Inn in Corpus Christi on March 31st, 1995, Saldivar pulled a .38 revolver and shot her. The bullet severed Selena's subclavian artery. She ran to the lobby, told the staff what happened, and collapsed. Pronounced dead at 1:05 that afternoon, and the world did mourn Selena. 60,000 fans at her last concert. Her posthumous album, Dreaming of You, hit #1 on the Billboard 200. But here's the part that fits this list. Saldivar's parole hearing came up in March 2025. She was denied. Next hearing? 2030, 30 years later. And the wound hasn't closed. Some of y'all remember exactly where you were when you heard the news. And if you do, you already know, nothing about this one has faded. Number 3. Al Jackson Jr. I didn't know this story until I started digging, and it changed how I hear everything that came out of Memphis. Al Jackson Jr. was the drummer for Booker T and the MGs, the house band at Stax Records. Green Onions in 1962. Time is Tight in 1969. But here's what you need to understand. Al Jackson didn't just play on those records. He was the foundation of the entire Memphis sound. When you hear Hold On, I'm Comin' by Sam and Dave, that's Al Jackson on drums. When you hear Otis Redding's Try a Little Tenderness, Al Jackson. Al Green's Let's Stay Together and I'm Still in Love with You, Al Jackson. They called him the human timekeeper. Steve Cropper said he defined the groove, the beat, the mood, everything. Now listen to this. In July 1975, his wife Barbara shot him. She claimed self-defense. More charges were dropped. Then, on October 1st, 1975, just 9 days after Booker T and the MGs agreed to reunite, Al Jackson was found dead in his Memphis home at 2885 Central Avenue. Shot 5 times in the back. He was 39. The suspected triggerman, a man connected to a friend of Barbara's, was killed by police the following year after an unrelated shootout. The case, officially unsolved to this day. The man who kept time for an entire genre of American music, and nobody has ever been held accountable. You know what's worse? Most people don't even know his name. Number 2. Marvin Gaye. You know his voice before you even know the song is playing. I heard it through the grapevine. What's going on? Let's get it on. Sexual Healing. The Prince of Motown. The man who turned R&B into social commentary and made it sound like silk while doing it.
Talk to me.
He won his first Grammys in 1983 for Sexual Healing, after years of tax exile in Europe, after years of personal chaos. He was back. And for a moment, it looked like the best chapter was just beginning. April 1st, 1984, the day before Marvin Gaye's 45th birthday. A physical fight broke out at the family home in Los Angeles between Marvin and his father, Marvin Gaye Sr. Marvin had stepped in to protect his mother, Alberta. His father walked into the bedroom with a .38 revolver, a gun Marvin himself had given him, and shot his son twice. Whilst the first bullet was fatal. And here's the line that will stay with me forever. Marvin's last words, reported by his mother. "I got what I wanted. I couldn't do it myself, so I made him do it."
You know, we've got to find.
Marvin Gaye Sr. was charged with first-degree murder. During the trial, doctors discovered a brain tumor. The charge was reduced to voluntary manslaughter. He received a suspended sentence and 5 years probation. He never spent a day in prison. He died in 1998 in a nursing home.
But don't punish me with fruit.
If you've ever watched someone you love destroy themselves and wondered whether they knew exactly what they were doing, you know why this one is different.
Hey, what's going on? Wanna know?
Number 1, Sam Cooke. And this is the one that breaks the whole list open. Because everything I've told you so far, the violence, the injustice, the silence, it all starts here. Sam Cooke, the king of soul. You Send Me in 1957, his first number 1. Chain Gang in 1960, Twistin' the Night Away. Cupid, Bring It On Home to Me. And then, A Change Is Gonna Come. A song so powerful, it became the anthem of the civil rights movement. 29 singles in the Billboard Top 40 in 8 years. He wasn't just a singer. He owned his masters. He ran his own label. He was meeting with Malcolm X, Muhammad Ali, and Jim Brown to strategize for Black economic independence in the early 1960s. That's how far ahead he was. December 11th, 1964, Hacienda Motel, 9137 South Figueroa Street, Los Angeles. According to the official story, Sam Cooke brought a young woman named Elisa Boyer to the motel. She says he tried to force himself on her. She fled with his clothes. Cooke, wearing only a sport coat and shoes, blood alcohol level .16, allegedly broke down the door of the motel office looking for her. The manager, Bertha Franklin, shot him once in the chest and beat him with a broomstick. Ruled justifiable homicide. Case closed in a matter of days. But here's what doesn't add up.
How many times can a man turn his head?
Etta James saw the body at the funeral home and said his head was nearly separated from his shoulders. His hands were broken and crushed. His nose was mangled. None of that was in the autopsy report. Boyer was arrested for prostitution 1 month later. She was later convicted of second-degree murder in an unrelated case. Franklin, a former madam with a criminal record, sued Sam Cooke's estate for $200,000. She lost. The investigation? No thorough questioning, no real follow-up. 200,000 mourners lined up for his funeral, 4 city blocks deep, and the world just moved on. The King of Soul was dead at 33, and nobody, not the police, not the courts, not the industry, ever looked twice. Some of you already know this story. Some of you just heard it for the first time. Either way, you feel it. Because this wasn't just a death. This was a disappearing act performed by people who didn't want Sam Cooke to become what he was becoming.
For he sees the answer